Today we've headed west to learn the difference between an orchard and grove, but more importantly to dive deep in the Missouri pecan industry. It is Pecan Harvest, and pecan is my favorite nut, so I'm pretty excited to learn about what goes into my favorite nut. And it's harvest season in the fall, and we've got trees behind us, but I want to learn a little bit about what takes place during harvest. I've seen a shaker and a picker, so take me to the beginning. When do you know it's time to start harvest?
It'd be whenever the nut starts opening up. They'll be green like that, but then they will start to split open. And then once we get a rain and a freeze, they'll open up and then we can shake them out of the tree.
So you'll see that in the tree, them
Yeah.
opening up like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
And that green will start drying out, turn brown or gray.
And then you know that it's about time to, and what's the time of year for those?
We usually start the last of October.
20th.
Yeah,
the
so we've
first
just
of
started.
November.
Just started harvest.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're standing in front of some of your old trees, and I asked how old they were a little while ago, and you said like 100, 150 years.
Some of the big
Yeah.
ones, yeah.
Some of the big ones. Looking at the pickers and the shakers, we saw you shake them. You're literally just giving the tree a big hug and shaking it. And I was standing next to it, and the ground was literally shaking. Okay, so as soon as you've shaken the tree and the nuts have fallen off, you're gonna make some sweeps underneath it, and you're gonna collect. Do all the nuts come off, or are you doing this a couple different times this season throughout harvest?
A couple times usually.
Okay,
Not
because they're not all
always.
maturing at the same time,
Right.
maybe?
Yep.
So there's still some green ones left up there. We'll come back and get another first of the year.
Okay, so there's different types, as I've learned, types of pecan trees. And this is a grove. So what's the definition of a grove of trees?
Well, grove is anything that's planted by nature. They're wild trees. Many times we'll have an area that has a lot of pecan trees in it, but may also have some maple trees or hickory, any number of different varieties of trees. So typically if you're going to make a pecan grove out of that, you're going to remove all those non-pecan species.
Because they might be taking needed nutrients out of
Well,
it,
and too
or-
thick.
Okay.
You know, you want to get your spacings. So you take those non-pecans out because they're not benefiting you. And then you look at spacing and the quality of the nut that tree produces. With native trees, you'll see some really small nuts and up to some decent size, you know, medium-sized pecans.
Okay, so you planted your own orchard. What's the life, well, I mean 100 plus years on these, but what's the life expectancy and how often or how soon will they start producing once you plant it?
I'm hoping in 8 years, but it's looking like more like 10 to 12.
Oh, interesting. And how long ago did you plant them?
3 years.
3 years ago. Okay, so you got some time.
Yeah.
But yeah, you've got these natives that have been producing for quite a while.
Yes.
Okay. Are farmers, pecan farmers in this area diversifying? Are they raising cattle and corn like you mentioned, or are some producers solely raising pecans?
Most guys in this area are diversified. Started out, a lot of guys were raising cattle, and the pecan was just a supplemental income, and you know, there wasn't a whole lot of emphasis put on the pecan trees. Just in the last 20 years, probably guys have really gotten to.
Yeah, I mean the pickers has helped a lot. Took a lot of labor out, because back in the day, I mean I can remember Bob Palmer and Opal and Bill Wyckoff and all them. They had scales literally that people would go down the grove, hand pick, bring it up. You split it 50%. 50% went to the landowner, 50% went to the people that picked them.
And you're literally just bending over and picking
Yeah.
up the
On your
ground.
hands and knees
Oh my
all day.
gosh. So
Yeah.
this saved the industry.
Oh, yeah. Well, once the pecans are all harvested, we bring them to the processing plant. The first step, we sort the pecans by size.
Okay.
Because the equipment, as it cracks and sorts the pecans, you want similar sized pecans. Then we wash the pecans and sanitize them. It proceeds immediately from that. We dry them and then they go into the crackers.
They'll come out like that, and they'll look about like that when they come out of the cracker, and then they'll go into the sheller. The sheller will beat the rest of the shell off of it.
So it's cracked and then
Yeah.
vibrates or moves it around.
Well,
so
it
you
Just
can-
kind of knocks it
Sure
around,
does.
yeah.
It goes, it rolls, and it's got beaters in there. And you just set them and try not to run it too fast so you don't damage the nut.
At the end of the process, we dry the nuts down because you want to have low moisture in the nuts
After you've shelled them.
after you shell them.
So what % moisture are they like right now? Before they've gone through that process?
These are probably, what, 12 or so this early in the season?
Yeah.
But then when I buy it, what
You want
percent?
around 4%.
Oh, okay, so you gotta cut quite a bit off.
Yeah, now typically as the season goes on, they'll dry down. They'll be 7, 8, 10%
Yeah,
moisture.
they'll dry natural.
Yeah,
So we just started harvest. When do you finish?
whenever we get done.
Okay, in a month, 2 months, 6 months?
No, we picked one up in April before.
Interesting. Okay.
If we have a large crop. Now this year we may be done
Yeah,
middle of
really
December.
good. But if it goes to snowing for a month or two, we gotta
You
wait.
can't do anything.
No,
Yeah.
can't do anything.
Is there anything wrong with them just hanging out on the trees, waiting on weather to, like, you know, we've had a lot of rain this past week.
Other than the critters get them, they'll thin the crop quicker than anything.
You got a lot of fat squirrels running around.
Oh boy, yes. Lots of squirrels, and you know, as long as it's cold, the pecans are basically in refrigeration all winter. So they're stable out here.
I buy pecans every, I don't know, maybe once a year, and I bake with them or eat them. But I keep them in my freezer.
That's perfect.
Oh,
They
okay.
keep longer.
I don't know why I started doing that. Maybe my grandma told me years ago, but that's where they need to be. They do need to be refrigerated.
Yes.
But when you're shopping, the lighter the color of that pecan, typically the better the quality. If that pecan is a dark brown, it's not really very good.
What happens next? Where are you selling your pecans? Are you packaging them in-house? And what stores are you marketing to?
We all try and market our pecans for the best price, and of course retail is the top price. So if we can do that, that's great. But we also we sell to food manufacturers, we sell to retail stores. You know, it's a lot of times we don't know where the pecans are going to go. We'll sell to a distributor, and then that distributor moves the pecans on. So many times we don't know for sure where they're going.
And it depends on, you know, like right now we've got a short crop, so we just been selling on the internet. And like Joe said, and there's some stores want organic, so they buy his, but there's some that want the cheaper one. So we get orders.
Now, okay, so we're in Nevada, Missouri. Why are there so many pecan trees in this area?
Well, it's kind of an oddity. A lot of people don't realize that we even have pecans in Missouri.
And do you know why I know? Because I spent my life driving up 71 highway and saw signs. I was like, we have pecans in Missouri?
Yeah.
People selling them on the roadside.
Yes, yes.
The pecans used to be native to Missouri in the 60s and 70s. They bulldozed a lot of pecans out because they tend to grow in the river bottoms and the floodplains. And if you think back with agriculture, it was back in the 60s they started putting levees up in the floodplains and found that soil was excellent for growing row crops. So a lot of pecans were just bulldozed out and burned back then. And of course we didn't have the equipment to pick them. People were picking by hand back then, so
Much
they
labor.
didn't see the didn't
Value.
realize the value of them. Yes. So, but the reason we've got so many pecans in this area, we have 3 rivers that come through here: the Little Osage, the Marmaton, and let's see, the Meridazine is north of us in Bates County. Those 3 converge over in eastern Vernon and Bates counties into they become the Big Osage, which goes into the Truman Lake and Lake of the Ozarks. So we've got a lot of floodplains here, and these trees just naturally grow in the floodplains.
Okay, maybe the most important thing, where can we go to get your pecans?
Well, we can visit our websites or give us a call. Our website is www.mopecans.com, and our phone number is 417-667-3501.
And True Pecan?
It's True Missouri Pecans, and it's 321-4941, 417 area code.